The Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania have been the shows for some time. A lot of crazy stuff happens in front of the camera, all the fans lose their mind, and we just have a good damn time. That was less true this year, and probably last year, and now the numbers have come to roost to provide us with evidence that maybe this isn't the case anymore. I've said it before and I'll say it again that we as fans don't really have to worry about television ratings or viewers, because what does it matter to us? You either do want to watch the product or you don't. Who really cares? Who else is doing so? But I tell you who does give two hoots, WWE, and they just lost 1 million viewers. Why? Here's why. At my head. The most obvious reason is, of course, that Raw is 3 hours long, and 3 hours long is too much to do anything. But when you look over at SmackDown and realize that's also suffering, that excuse gets thrown out of the window. Now, talking about the Raw after WrestleMania in 2019, yes, I'll say it now so you don't have to say it in the comments. It did go up against the NCAA basketball playoffs, which did a huge number, but you can't keep using that as an excuse when you look at the bigger picture. And if we are going to look at the bigger picture, let's look at some numbers too. Last year, the Raw after WrestleMania did 3.9 million viewers. The year before that, it did 3.7 million. The year before that, it did 4.7 million. And the year before that, it did over 5 million viewers. And that means over the last few years, WWE has dropped 40% of its darn audience. And in case you're trying to figure out if that's good, the answer is no. No, it's not. And while some of this is going to tie into the whole fact that less people are watching TV and they're cutting the cable and the NCAA basketball playoffs, we've talked about them, sometimes you've just got to be honest with yourself, and that's what we're going to be doing today so we can investigate it, so we can research it. Less people are watching WWE and less people want to watch WWE even around WrestleMania season. I tell you, that's crazy. Do you remember the week before WrestleMania and the week after WrestleMania, all of us, we wouldn't be able to handle it. Now we just shrug our shoulders and go, let's see what's going to happen. And with all that in mind, yes, sure, of course, we do have to talk about YouTube. Welcome, we're here right now. And other social media, because they will play a factor as well. I know loads of people who are happy to get their wrestling content by looking at GIFs and by watching videos such as this. If I was wearing a hat, I'd tip it. I'd appreciate it all the time. That to me, though, is just more evidence that the content WWE is putting out there isn't enough. Think of any movie that you love or TV show on Netflix that you binge. Game of Thrones. That's about to start. Game of Thrones. Do you want to get all your Game of Thrones information by reading the internet or by finding some bald idiot who's going to tell you? Of course you don't, because you've made an emotional investment and you want to find out firsthand and react to it in the way that the producers, the directors and the actors want you to react. That's why entertainment is so good. You feel entertained. And sure, you'll come on YouTube at some stage to get the bald guy's opinions, but you do that after the fact because one, you want to experience it for yourself, and two, you ain't gonna go online until you've seen it, because that's spoiler territory, and when someone spoils something for you, I know what happens. You just go absolutely, well, you get enraged and you want to kill someone. I see it all the time. Some people tweet me, oh, you spoiled this for me, I'm going to kill you. You're going to kill me? You've got to calm it down. No one does that with WWE nowadays, and WrestleMania, that used to be the exception, I think now has been chopped down too. It's almost like that the event is actually bigger than WWE these days, because while thousands of people will go and millions will watch it on the network or however you see it, when it comes to the Raw and SmackDown after or before, nobody really cares that much. It's like WrestleMania stands here, and WWE, which is the foundation, is just chopped up into little bits and nobody wants to talk about it. I mean, it was only 24 hours later, and we're back to the same status quo. That being us looking at ratings and looking at viewers and going, I guess nobody cared that much. I'll tell you this, I don't think the length of WrestleMania 35 is helping anything. Even if you watch nothing else all weekend, you still got 7 hours plus of wrestling. And are you really going to go watch 3 hours more on Monday when you've only just finished WrestleMania at like 2 o'clock in the morning? Of course you're not. You're probably going to want a rest, especially when you realise, because that's what we've been seeing over the last year or so, the Raw and SmackDown after Mania aren't the big boys anymore. That's happening a week later. Back in the day, you never knew who was going to turn up on these episodes, and that would be your reason to tune in. But now you know that won't happen here. Again, it will happen 7 days later at the draft or the Superstar Shakeup or whatever. WWE is calling it nowadays. So if you did sit around for Kofi Kingston versus Seth Rollins, title versus title, we've got to talk about that too. Clearly nobody cares about championships anymore because the amount of people that tuned out from hour 1 to hour 3 on the Raw after Mania was absolutely crazy. But anyway, if you did watch that and think, oh well, WWE could get out of this by calling up the Undisputed Era from NXT, deep down you knew that wouldn't be the case, because if we are going to see any combination of those 4 men, it's happening on Canada on April 16th, 17th, or whenever it is in the damn Superstar Shakeup. And if you've convinced yourself of that, you can just ignore it and check the internet in case you're wrong. Within about an hour, you can see your favourites debut and then just go, oh, well, saw it anyway. That's that. You can zoom through all the nonsense that you know has no impact on you and just wait for something that does. I mean, WWE made the biggest hint about that recently because on SmackDown, Paige even walked in front of a camera and went, oh, I'm going to have a new tag team next week and they're really going to be big, but you don't get to see them now, so yeah, wait for that episode. It's like there's a big bubble around that episode. Everyone has to watch that episode. And WWE never used to do that, by the way. It was more like surprise after surprise after surprise after surprise. Now it's just a bit of, well, that'll be fun. I mean, Undertaker, he was cool, but again, that's built into a Saudi Arabia show, and we all know how we feel about this. And yeah, on this occasion, that's not entirely true because we did get the arrival of Lars Sullivan, but that doesn't work because he was meant to debut way back in January, but obviously he had some problems that he had to go and sort out. Quick tangent, quick shout out to WWE for treating him the right way and allowing him to come in with this theme that clearly he would have had a few months ago, but that's a get out of jail free card. He wasn't able to debut back in January. He can just debut now. He can beat people up on Raw. He can beat people up on SmackDown. Then we'll do the draft and he can get his official home. I mean, that just works. Why would you do anything else? The real question now is what the ratings are going to be with these shake-up shows. We're living in a time where WWE may not average 3 million viewers at all throughout 2019, and we'll know more once said show is out the way, because if any episode for the remaining of the year is going to hit that 3 million mark, it would be the draft. But what if it doesn't? And what does that mean for WWE when the NFL starts again? That always bites into their audience. And while they don't have to worry about this until 2024, that's where their TV deal ends. What if we get 5 years down the line and the graph goes like this? You don't want to be there because it means less money and it could potentially mean you get cancelled. I mean, that's not going to happen. But if Raw does drop below 2 million viewers on average, there are other programs out there that would be on the chopping board before you could say, John Cena, please come back, we need you. I still think going back to a 2-hour format for Raw would do wonders, but it all depends on what Vince McMahon's goal is. That extra 1 hour makes the company around about $50 million. If you gave me $50 million and asked to chuck it away, well, I would struggle with that. So you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't, but it's still upsetting. I want more people to watch wrestling, not less, and that's why I'm excited about SmackDown moving to Fox in October. It means more eyes potentially can be on the product, and hopefully with all the advertising and promotion Fox are doing on their football programs, SmackDown can make a leap. But I tell you, I've said it before, I'll say it again, if it doesn't, it will be moved to FS1, and that is a terrible look for WWE. There could be one last kicker to all of this as well, and that's why we start talking about AEW. And I know we're not allowed to talk about AEW because nobody cares and it's really boring, even though it's not, and it's really exciting. But let's say that their TV deal does come real, and all of a sudden, they find an audience. Then if you are trying to protect WWE or make excuses for them, and you're perfectly allowed to do that, but the point is, well, wrestling just isn't that popular on television nowadays, and then All Elite Wrestling comes along and proves that it can be, all of a sudden, the shape-shifting starts to happen. The brilliant bit is the rumor mill now is saying that AEW could actually end up on TNT, and that was the home of WCW, so I hope that does happen because it will be hilarious. And then you actually do have a new wrestling war, and it just so happens to be going on 2 of the channels that it did back on the day, and Fox are involved as well. It's crazy. And then yes, if you do have these disparaging numbers, you're allowed to say people just aren't that caught up in WWE anymore, because that will be all that's left. If you've got another company that's risen up and people are watching it, but people aren't watching WWE, what else is there? There's nothing. And that may not be the worst thing in the world if it does light a fire under WWE's creative ass. I mostly enjoy it, as you know, but it's fair to say that on occasion, it's not the easiest watch, especially because the foundations and the focus are the same as they were 20 years ago. We had a big shift when the Attitude Era came in, but ever since that, format of the show is the same. Becoming the biggest dog in the yard has allowed WWE to coast just a little bit, and whatever can kick them out of that malaise will be best for everybody, and it will be best for the wrestling business. Because let's face it, I just want as much good wrestling as I can get my hands on, because deep down, I am a wrestling fan. So whatever it takes to rile up those creative brains, then let's do that, even if it is competition. Whatever we gotta do, I'm ready. We do live in an awesome time where within seconds of an angle or a match, you can go online and voice your opinions and get other people's opinions back. But I think because of that, a lot of people have also become fed up with the industry in general. I mean, that's a little unfair, because WWE did just give us 3 babyface championship wins at WrestleMania, which we all wanted, and yet we're all still here moaning. However, one gesture does not make good overall. It's a lot like the boy who cried wolf. You've got to do things constantly to restore the faith in the fans and the audience, so they know if I do keep coming back over and over and over again, and I give you my trust, you're not going to abuse it. And I want that too, more than anything, but this drop in viewership probably means that currently we're going in the other direction. Because again, let's say it nice and easy, nice and obvious, less and less people want to watch WWE. In this case, 1 million people. But only one man can stop that. Only one man has the power to reverse the trend. And that, of course, my friends, is Repo Man. Not Repo Man. If only it was Repo Man. Maybe Repo Man, if you bring him back to Raw and SmackDown, he will make more people watch. I know, I'll certainly double up my viewership. I'm talking about Vince McMahon. It's in your ball court, Vince McMahon. It always has been. I know you've done it before. Now let's see you do it again. Now don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about Raw, SmackDown, and the ratings. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to whatculture.com and read yourself some articles. Follow What Culture on Twitter, What Culture WWE, and watch more videos here on What Culture Wrestling. My name is Simon Miller. Thank you very much for watching, and I just want to say right now, I am still absolutely bamboozled and jet lagged from my WrestleMania trip. Not complaining, had a great time. I just want to let you know, in case you look at my face and my overall demeanor and think to yourself, Simon seems a little bit out of sorts. Because I am out of sorts. Didn't even say that right. See, it just came out as a blur. I am out of sorts, but I'm slowly getting back to where we need to be. Grinding some salt on my hand. I'll stop that. Thanks for watching the Y series. I think I'm going to go lay down. I think I need to get back on British time pretty quickly.